Tanya Monro.
And where are you from? Where do you work?
I'm the Deputy Vice Chancellor Research at the University of South Australia.
Great. Well, why did you decide to come to the Global Education Dialogue?
This whole question of research and industry and how we can better interface it and get better outcomes in the world from our research is a hot button topic in Australia at the moment, but it's also at the heart of the university I work with, which calls itself the University of Enterprise. So we pride ourselves on our capacity to work closely with industry.
Okay, can you give me a tangible example of that?
Well, the University of South Australia is Australia's largest participant in the CRC program, the Cooperative Research Centre program, which is a large-scale way of partnering industry problems with research capacity.
And what's been the output which people might be able to
look, so should I stop while a million people walk past, or is it fine?
I think it's fine because you've got a mic.
Okay, not a problem. Most people I've worked with have been very fussy about ambient, so you're good. The CRC program's had many extraordinary outputs. One quite pragmatic example is very lightweight plastic mirrors for cars that have the same properties optically as glass mirrors, which reduce weight but also cost in automotive manufacture. Other examples at the moment are smart ways of accelerating wound healing.
Wow, fascinating. And how do you think the best way is to foster better industry to university collaboration? Is it always about that person-to-person contact? Is that where it always begins? You
can't beat those relationships. They're absolutely critical. I think a few things are critical to really lifting our game in industry research cooperation. One of which is to recognise and reward researchers for doing it well. Those that do it well at the moment are doing it because they have an intrinsic desire to do it, because at present it's not well recognised in our system, and it's not a good pathway to grants, promotions or fellowships. We need to change that. The other is we need to really be much more clear about recognising that industry doesn't work with researchers unless there's really good underpinning research underneath. Research with some sort of applied focus is not second-rate research, and that this symbiosis really is what you need between the blue sky fundamental research and the more applied research. You can't really have one without the other.
And what about timeframes? Well, somebody else I spoke to said that there is a problem with industry's expectation of timeframes around a project and institutional expectations. So how do you manage that well at your university?
Look, expectations are everything. If you start a relationship between an industry and a research concentration, or between individuals without those clear expectations of what success looks like, you're doomed to failure. Having said that, sure, if you start off with an idea for a new product, that can be a long road. Even when the fundamental research questions are answered, it can take a while to get something into production and out in the market. That said, I've seen cases where an industry partner comes into a lab and in the course of an afternoon discovers something that changes what product goes out the door.
Wow.
So you can have incredibly fast traction. It really depends what problem you set yourselves, and I think often we're too narrow in thinking of industry research partnerships as being about a new technology or a entirely new product direction. Quite often it's just about access to cutting-edge infrastructure, access to new ideas, and those partnerships that facilitate that.
Okay. Tell me about the funding model around research in Australia. Is that something you think works well at the moment, or do you think this needs to be changed?
Yeah, look, I think we have quite a lot of challenges with our funding model for research at the moment. From the real problems that we have, lowering success rates and increased competition for very small pools of resources, the fact that research is not fully funded by our funding systems produces very strange, perverse incentives where teaching cost subsidises research, and where if any university is really successful in growing research, it becomes an immensely expensive exercise. Having said that, really good industry partnerships can help to solve it because they can help you diversify your funding pool for research. I think there are a number of challenges, but I think many of them can be overcome by starting to shift the incentives and starting to recognise researchers who do that. What we've talked about today, which is industry-facing research, which I really like as an alternative.
But how would you think you could better recognise them?
Oh, so many different ways. So our university has just recently introduced at the University of South Australia an industry promotion stream where you can become a full research professor on the basis of your engagement with industry, for example. Another way you can recognise that is something we've got planning to launch this month. So I'm the Vice President of FTSE, the Academy of Technological Sciences and Engineering, And we're coming out with a report that was sponsored by the Federal Department of Education on how you can have, along with ERA, which is our Excellence in Research Australia way of measuring academic excellence, we can also measure industry engagement. And that report comes out this month, and really essentially what we then will have is a way of universities tangibly seeing how that research group or that department contributes to its overall rating in industry engagement. And you know, if you're going up for promotion, and it can be seen that your work really matters to that university in terms of that prestige marker, that will change behaviour.
Excellent. Last question. What are you hoping you might pick up from other countries who are here represented today?
Look, I spent 7 years working in the UK, and it's fascinating for me to see how far the UK has come in the last decade with some of these really deliberate government policies to foster industry research engagement. I'm hoping we can fast track our own development in Australia to learn from some of the mistakes and wonderful approaches, successes taken by other countries.